Welcome to another episode of Morgan's Point of View, where we talk movies, TV, sports, and other pop culture topics. I'm Morgan. This episode, we're talking about my DCU wish list and the NBA playoffs so far. So for the DCU wish list, I limited myself to 5 shows and 5 movies. Well, around 5 movies, because I don't know, sweet about it too much is like I got a laundry list, so we got to narrow it down a little bit. So first of all, if you don't know context, backstory, the DCU was first the DCEU. And that was Zack Snyder's vision, and that's what he was doing. It failed. It was kind of panned. Critics didn't approve of it. Fans didn't really like it. And so James Gunn ended up taking over, changing it to the DCU, and that's the era we're in now. They have, I want to say, probably 2 or 3 projects out right now. Creature Commandos, Superman, and Peacemaker Season 2. This was kind of the launching point. This year, 2026, they have Supergirl, they have Lanterns, and so it's kind of a big year for them, but this is like probably going to be the definitive DC universe that we're working with for the next like 5 to 10 years. So there's a lot of stuff that I need to see and I need for them to get done. I love DC stuff. Better than Marvel to me. Like I connected with it more. That was one of my first things. DC had more of a TV presence than Marvel did in the 2010s, and so I like TV more than movies. So that's how that connection is made. But let's go to shows first. So first is the Legion of Superheroes. This might be kind of niche just because they haven't had too many properties, too many adaptations outside of the comics. And so, yeah, so not a lot of people know them, but my pitch for them basically would be the X-Men if they were from the future. So they're kind of, think of it like that in your head, and they're inspired by Superman very much. So that's their guy, that's their legend, and so that's how they thought, okay, let's start protecting. It's called the United Planets, kind of. So like all the planets are kind of in one. Think of it like kind of the UN. And I think this would be a really cool concept for a show. The reason I'm saying a show instead of a movie is because you have such an expanded cast of characters, and it's a large ensemble. We need time with these characters. So I would say probably a TV show would be better. And also, since they're so far out of the continuity, kind of like they're not really in the main DCU timeline hierarchy because they're from the future, right? So you have more time to play with on TV. HBO Max needs DC content. There you go. And yeah, I think there's a whole bunch you could do with this. Them just starting out, you can do the original lineup. You can change lineups over time. You can add characters, take characters away, do all the stuff you need to do. There's just a lot of options here. Next is Zatanna, and I would do a Justice League Dark spinoff. So I would probably do a Justice League Dark movie and then have this spinoff of that. I would have her on that team. She's on that team in the comics, and then have her own stuff later. Zatanna is one of the most popular DC characters who hasn't really been adapted much, and I would just like to see her like have a show. I think she's the ideal character for this because I feel like we just haven't seen too much of her in adaptations, and again, the TV format gives you more time with these characters, and she's somebody worth having more time with just because she's so interesting. And the stuff where her father's very interesting. Her father was kind of a magician and stuff, and was a part of that, and so I think it would be cool to see her in that light. Okay, so next is Nightwing. Nightwing should definitely have a show, and this is one of those things where it's like, this needs to happen now. Whether you could do a movie version of this, but the only reason I say Nightwing is because I think all ground level like characters, and there's a lot of them ground level, street level characters in DC, should have shows just because it suits that format more. You can have like a villain of the week, crime of the week, have your overarching plot of them fighting a villain for one season and then continuing that way. Nightwing being all the way over in Bloodhaven, there's not too many other characters who are in Bloodhaven, like not too many other superheroes, so he has that kind of all to himself. And you can have him be in like Teen Titan stuff in the movies, have him be in Batman stuff in the movies, maybe have his own movie, but then have a TV show as well. I think it would be cool. Mr. Terrific is next. The only reason why I say Mr. Terrific in a TV show instead of a film is because I feel like DC wouldn't make it a movie. Just because if they would, it would be like him on a team, like him on the Terrifics, him on the Justice Society. And I would like to see him just on a solo vibe, like on a solo kick, a solo adventure. I think that would be cool. One of the smartest characters in DC, probably top 3. And the way he was depicted in Superman was super cool. So I would like to see more of that character. It's been rumored that he was going to have a show, and that's definitely something I think they should go through with. Next is Vixen. This is like, just a Hail Mary, because I don't know if they're ever going to do anything with this character. Number one, she's a black woman, and I don't know if the DCU is going to have shows and movies with a black woman as the lead. It's just so rare. And if you look at across the aisle at the MCU, like, how many times have we seen a black woman have her own something, her own show, her own movie? There's barely any black female characters in the MCU. So that's why I was saying it's so difficult to kind of predict. But I think, and if you look at DC Comics, Vixen hasn't had a solo run in ever. I think it's been like a mini or something. So, but I would like to see it. I think she's a cool character. I think also she can tie into other characters because her animal power, she uses a totem and she can she can take the powers of any animal, and like that connects to Beast Boy, that connects to Animal Man, like all those other characters, so you can kind of backdoor pilot that stuff too. And I think I would just like to see more with Vixen. And yeah, those are my shows. Now there's more shows that I can think of off the top of my head, but these are the most urgent and like ones that I want to see in the next couple of years. So let's go to movies. First is Wonder Woman. This should be the first like thing of the itinerary if you're DC, if you're James Gunn, because it's like, she's the third member of the Trinity. You have Batman, you have Superman, you have Wonder Woman, and people often forget that Wonder Woman is the third piece, and she's one of the most recognizable fictional female characters that there is, like, ever, like, of all time, and she kind of doesn't get the respect she deserves. They said that they're having an animated series of her. Haven't seen much news on that front. They said there was going to be a game. Game got canceled. Barely has, like, Superman and Batman have so many comic runs, and she has, like, I'm thinking of two off the top of my head. She's never really had an animated series. She doesn't have as many animated films as Batman and Superman. Like, she just doesn't have it. So now is your chance to give her due and kind of push her back into the forefront of the zeitgeist of female superheroes. Because I feel like even though she's just so iconic that she really can't, like, her crown can't tip too much, but it is like, come on, like, it's been so long without an adaptation of her. And so what I would like to see for this movie, I think we should just focus on the present, and we shouldn't do too much flashbacks because we just did that in the DCEU with Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Like, we did a whole movie set in the past. So let's just focus on the present right now and what they got going on here. I don't know what characters I would like to see. Steve Trevor is definitely what comes to mind. Cheetah. Also, I'd like to see her as the main villain of this movie. And yeah, I think this should happen sooner rather than later. Like, 2027, they should go in production on this movie. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, waiting too much longer is a little bit of a disservice to her and her character. Next, I want to see The Flash, a Flash movie, but Wally West should be the Flash. I've been reading The Flash by Mark Waid. This has Wally West as the Flash, and I can't tell you how much I want this adapted into like a movie, like a full feature-length film. I think it's perfect for that. Him stepping up and Barry passes away and him stepping up and becoming the Flash. I think that's perfect. I think him as a character is just a little bit more dynamic and interesting than Barry. And this is coming from somebody who loves the Flash TV show. I just think there's so much more ground to cover of the fact that somebody who you like admired is now gone, and you have to step up and kind of be that person that you admired, but you also have to do it your own way because you're not him. Like, that's just such a good premise. The return of Barry Allen's storyline is amazing too. Like, there's just so much ground to cover here, and so I think it should be Wally West, definitely. And if you look at the timeline of the DCU and where we're at now, you see Jon Stewart becoming the main Green Lantern, Hal Jordan's like older, like it just makes sense for timeline purposes. Nightwing's gonna be fully formed, like it just makes sense. And so the Green Lantern saga is my next one. Now, a Green Lantern could be like, it has the potential to be as great of a sci-fi odyssey as like Star Wars, but nobody's been able to adapt it correctly. And I'm still scared that the Lantern show in 2026 won't be able to adapt it correctly either. I don't know why I don't know why it's been such a big pain for them to be able to adapt this, because I don't think it's particularly hard. Like, the effects is hard, yes, but we have the technology now for y'all to be able to figure out how you're going to be able to go and beat this and look at the comic book and look at the panel and look at the coloring and be able to transfer that to the screen. Like, you should be able to do it with the technology that we have now. That's all I'm saying. Like, and that's why I was saying them starting off with a show was just so bizarre to me, because one of the best things about Green Lantern is they're going up into space, and it's like, you need to see that on a big screen. Them going up to the space, the colors, everybody has their different rings, they're fighting in space. Like, there's a whole planet of Green Lanterns, and the planet is alive. Like, that's so many cool things that y'all could do, but now you're doing it on TV. Like, I just don't understand it at all. But the Green Lantern saga for me would be Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run. This was the first Green Lantern thing that I read, and I believe that it's easily adaptable. Like, in a way where you don't even have to think too hard. Like, they kind of plot out for you. Like, it's just a full saga, it's a full narrative that you should be able to do. You know, Hal Jordan dealing with, first of all, his father dying at a young age and him not being able to deal with that. The fallout from him being paralyzed, I don't know if they'll be able to execute that right. You know, John Stewart's also dealing with stuff, but he's a prominent figure in this as well, because you had the Green Lantern core book and the Green Lantern main title kind of collide and be kind of one thing and kind of like feed off each other. And I believe the movie should do this too. So, like, if your Green Lantern core show, like, it has to be a show, that's cool. And then you have, like, Green Lantern the movies, and then they, like, crisscross and crossover and all of that. I think that would be cool. You know, the Sinestro War is a great storyline as well, and it, like, leads into some of the other stuff, Brightest Day, Darkest Night, like, a whole bunch of great stuff. So they should do that. Next is JSA, Justice Society of America. Love this team. You'll begin to see on this list is I really love team stuff. And I think, you know, a lot of the time that's handled better in shows, but I'm having faith that they could be able to do it in a movie. With the JSA, I think the first movie should be around World War II. You do the original team, and then maybe you do another movie, and the sequel is them, and it's present day, and it's them, like, you know, integrating that next phase, that next lineup into their camp, like the legacy characters, like the Hot Girls, Kendra Saunders, Stargirl, all those characters, Mr. Terrific. I think Mr. Terrific should definitely be a part of the JSA. Like, I don't care about the Terrifics, his other team, too much, and I think he should just be in the JSA for a little bit. But, yeah, like, Hawkman, so you have your probably original three, like, Hawkman, Jay Garrick, Wildcat, you know, Alan Scott, Green Lantern. You have that team, and then that's the first movie. And the second movie, you add in, like, all the other characters from the other Jeff Johns, the JSA Jeff Johns run. So I think that's perfect for an adaptation. Next is Teen Titans. Love the Teen Titans a lot. You know, I don't know how they're going to do it, because timeline-wise, it seems like this Batman is older, meaning he's had all the Robins before, meaning, you know, Grayson can't be that young to be on the Teen Titans, so it would have to be Damian. But the thing is, I don't want to see a Damian-led Teen Titans. I'm not going to lie. Like, I would just like to see the original lineup. So maybe this movie's set in the past. And I think, you know, I think say you have to have Damian Wayne be like the Robin on this team. So I would say then they are mentored by the original Teen Titans. So that would be Grayson, Donna Troy, not Stargirl, Starfire, who else is on that team? Wally West, you know, all those people. And then you have, like, the Damian Wayne's team or whatever. I can't accept any other way. I can't accept just it being just Damian's team and that's the movie, because I think the Teen Titans have a deep, like, history that you should be able to honor, and most of that history is done with Grayson being Robin in that team. So, well, I'll be interested to see. New Gods is kind of an obscure one. It's kind of one that's, like, not as popular. But I think, like, if you can get people to be able to buy into this, like, they'll enjoy themselves, especially seeing how much the general public enjoy, like, Game of Thrones and other stuff. Because it's like, hey, it's like, this New God premise is basically, it's two warring, like, planets. It's Apocalypse and it's New Genesis. And to set a peace treaty to put them on good terms because they've been going to war, Dark Side and is it High Master? I can't remember. But, the leader of New Genesis, the leader of Apocalypse, they trade their children. So, I don't know, is it High Father might be? I think his name is High Father. One of those things. I think High Father, so he gives his kid, so High Father's kid is raised on Apocalypse, and that ends up being Mr. Miracle. And, Darkseid's kid is raised on New Genesis. That ends up being Orion. And that story is so compelling. And the story of them being, like, basically gods, like, at war with each other and everybody, all the characters. Light Ray, I believe, one of them. Like, that's just such an interesting premise. And it's, like, you just have to get people to buy in because it's a lot. And if you look at some of the panels, like, it's a lot of color. It's a lot of brightness. It's a lot of crazy, like, character designs, but I think when people do buy in, it could be cool. And we know that Mr. Miracle is getting a animated show and it's going to be DCU canon, so there is a window for this to happen. And so, yeah, I think this should happen. Now, Milestone is also on my wish list. If you don't know, Milestone is a Black-led publication, comic book publication company. They came together, like, I think this is in the 90s, maybe, and so they got their distribution from DC, and this is where you get Static, who had the Static Shock cartoon, one of probably the biggest characters to come out of Milestone, the Blood Syndicate, Iconic Rocket, Hardware, and those characters I would like to see in the DCU, but it seems as though there's a dispute between Milestone and DC, and I think DC doesn't have film rights to these characters, so they can't create stuff with them. So it seems as though this was probably not going to happen, but it would be really cool if this did, because I just want to see these characters, and if they're not going to have their own, if they're not going to be in the DCU, they just need to make their own film studio, because they have some bangers on here, specifically the Blood Syndicate. That comic is, like, insane, and I need people to read it, and I need them to get a show. So, yeah, that's my DCU wish list. I do have more things that I want to talk about, like, things that I would like to see in the DCU, but this is the main, like, itinerary. Like, I need this done in the next couple of years, like, in the next 5 years, I believe, and so hopefully they do get it done. I think a lot of these things, a lot of DC fans are kind of on the same wavelength of what we, like, want in this DCU. A lot of people are going to be mad just because of timeline stuff, and a lot of people's, like, characters' primes are getting, like, cut over, basically, and skipped, but, hey, that is what it is. Okay, let's go to the NFL playoffs. Real quick, Mike Tomlin steps down. He has not won a playoff game since the 2016 season. And I just want to say this now. I believe that he got fired. I do believe that he got fired, and they said just step down. Because he had been with them so long and they respect him, but he definitely did get fired. And I think if I could diagnose the Steelers for a minute, and other organizations like them, the Atlanta Hawks also come to mind. They are so scared of just being bad teams for a minute. Like, just be bad teams for a period and then work your way back. They're so obsessed with this winning record philosophy just to get bounced out in the first round of the playoffs, or just to not even make a wild card in the Atlanta Falcons, what they got going on. Like, just lose a little bit. Get your draft picks, because the 20th draft pick isn't going to get anything done for anybody. Okay? Especially when you're in need of a franchise quarterback. Like, why would you... I just don't understand this obsession with winning when you know you can't win the whole thing. Okay, we have a winning record, but we have no chance of making it to the Super Bowl. So what's the point of the winning record? Unless you're building towards something. But the Steelers never were building towards anything. It was all just filler. Kenny Pickett... It was in a historically bad quarterback draft. All the quarterbacks were bad. They were saying no quarterbacks were going to be taken in the first round. So they all draft Kenny Pickett. Okay, well, he turns out to be not good. Why is it not like, okay, well, let's just tank. Let's just trade people who, TJ Watt, like, let's try to put him with a good franchise, and let's just, wipe the slate clean. And let's just start over. They just were weirdly not able to do that. And that was their downfall. And that's why, bringing Aaron Rodgers into the mix, like, why? Like, what does that do for y'all long term? Like, how does that build towards anything? And that's what I was confused by. So they got to really reevaluate what they want to do going forward. Mike Tomlin, I don't know if he is going to, find a new franchise to be with. But since he stepped down, the Steelers still control his contract rights. So he would have to be traded to another team, basically. And so I don't know if he'll ever do that. But, he's a legend. He had a good run with the Steelers, and that's that. So Texans, Steelers lost 30-6. Texans, I'm interested to see how they do in the playoffs. It seems like their defense is really great and compelling. It seems like C.J. Stroud has kind of found, a little bit of his rhythm. It was looking dark there for a little period of time, but it seems like he's found it, so good for him. Packers-Bears, though, was probably my favorite game of the weekend. This was crazy. Like, I love when the Packers and Bears play, and the fact that the Bears are actually good now just raises the stock of that rivalry so much, to the point where, like, it's unpredictable. Like, I don't know who's gonna win, but I am happy for the Chicago Bears fans, because they really had to tough out through a lot. Like, through a lot. And so for them to actually finally be good is crazy. I thought they were going to be good last year, but it seems like the coach was super holding them back. Watching some Hard Knocks clips, and he was, like, asking Coach Saban for coaching advice on how to coach quarterbacks. And I was like, we'll see how this season goes. It didn't go well. But now it is, and they have Ben Johnson, who is, has a certain intensity in his eyes that's almost a little bit scary. Like, I kind of get jump scared a little bit when he's in those, like, halftime, like, interviews with the reporters. Like, he's very intense, but it seems to be working. It seems they've crafted their identity. Luther Burton III, Rome Odunze. The Bears are a great team now. I'm excited to see them going forward in the playoffs. Rams Panthers 34-31. This is interesting. The Panthers being able to fight and keep this game this close and almost having it is interesting and intriguing to me. And I'm wondering what they do next year, because their conference is very weak. Their division is very weak. So anything could really happen. Happy for Bryce Young. Again, another person who was looking dire there for a little bit, but he turned it around. And now he's gonna get a little bit of money. So good for him. 49ers Eagles 23-19. The 49ers being able to salvage this season is kind of insane. Like, when Fred Warner went down, I was like, oh, it's over. Like, it's really over. Because it feels like Fred Warner just does so much for their defense. Like, almost superhuman stuff. So I was like, all right, well, what are they going to do now on the defensive end? But they figured it out. They were all over, like, flying to the ball, like, doing whatever they can. And, good for them. Christian McCaffrey still doing his thing. But, the thing that's actually interesting is the Eagles. They've been having reality TV show drama kind of this whole season. And I've been engaged, and I've been, entertained by it all. AJ Brown is, I can't get mad at a wide receiver being overly confident, because I feel like that's in the job description. And if you're a wide receiver, especially a number one wide receiver, and you're not overconfident, I'm kind of scared in your abilities as a receiver, because how are you wide receiver one and you're not overly confident? Like, that's kind of what that job entails. So when he was going out and saying, I want the ball, I need more touches, and this was kind of over like multiple weeks. It was just so, like, kind of odd. I don't know. Like, a lot of times when wide receivers, like, they want more touches, you can just see it in their body language and their discussions on the sidelines. I feel like them going to the media and speaking on it, not that it's rare, but it just doesn't happen too much. So for AJ Brown to do that, and AJ Brown has not really been, he's been overly confident, but he's not really been as outgoing with the media, I would say. So to see him do that, I was like, ooh, things must really be serious. The offensive coordinator seems to not be maximizing this roster, and I just don't know how you can't, with Saquon Barkley as my running back, AJ Brown as my number one receiver, Devonta Smith as my number two receiver. Like, I should be able to make something shake, like, every single week. Like, every single week, I should be scoring 30 plus points, but it just wasn't going that way. And I think, like, with Jalen Hurts, you kind of have to hide his weaknesses a little bit. With any quarterback, you have to hide their weaknesses. And I don't know if he was able to do that effectively. Well, it's not that I don't know that he wasn't able to do that effectively. But AJ Brown, week after week saying, I need more touches. And then we get to this wild card game and you're dropping passes. I was looking at the TV screen a little bit shocked. I'm like, I don't know how this going to do. Nick Sirianni was kind of yelling at him a little bit. And it's like, you just can't drop passes in this situation given what you've been saying this whole season. Like, it's just awkward, And I think that the locker room after the game, it probably was awkward. AJ Brown didn't speak to the media after the game. And, yikes. That's why I feel like I don't know about broadcasting out that I need more touches. I feel like he had to have gone to his offensive coordinator beforehand. But, like, I don't know. You got to figure out something else. Because when those tables turn and, like, you're not able to catch the ball, like, people are going to pull up those clips on you. And your teammates are going to remember those moments of you going to the media. Everybody's kind of look at you. Like, so it's like, now I'm in this awkward position. But A.J. Brown's going to bounce back. I think he's a really great talent. And, I think he does stay on the Eagles, though. People are saying he's going to end up leaving the Eagles. What I do think is going to happen is that offensive coordinator is going to get fired. And I feel like Nick Sirianni is like, he's on the hot seat. And if I was the Eagles, he would be fired. I'm not going to lie. Especially with all the coaches that have gotten fired this season, there's a lot of options out there. And I would probably try to see if Mike McDaniels, I believe his name is, the former Dolphins coach, if he would be my offensive coordinator. Now, I know he's probably going to want a head coaching job, but I'm saying, hey, you have Jalen Hurts. Hey, you have A.J. Brown. Like, hey, you have Saquon Barkley. Like, if we make something crazy here happen, then let's see what your next head coaching opportunity is. But I think he's probably going to go for the head coaching job anyway. But if I'm the Eagles, that's what I'm going to try to do. Bills beat the Jaguars 27-24. Not too much to say about this game. Just that I need Josh Allen to be ready. Like, because the slander that's going to happen if you do not reach the Super Bowl is going to be insane. And, like, I really can't shield you from that. It just is going to be what it is. No Patrick Mahomes, no Lamar Jackson, no Joe Burrow. Like, I feel like it's you at quarterback, and then it's, like, a couple notches down, right? So you should be able to, get through this. Next is Chargers-Patriots 3-16. I was watching this game, and I was thinking, like, mercy rule, like, should we stop this? Because Justin Herbert was getting killed. Like, I was out there. When he started holding his stomach after every hit, I was like, oh, wrap it up. Like, he might be bleeding internally. Like, please. Like, he was getting hit so hard. And that offensive line really should look in the mirror after this, because the speed at which they were getting to Justin Herbert, he didn't have time to think. He didn't have time to take a deep breath. Like, he was getting hit. Like, there was one time where they left a guy unblocked. I believe it was a blitz. And he just ran through and hit him so hard that I was like, oof, you might have to just throw the flag on principle, because this is crazy. And, he did not have a good performance at all, overthrowing everybody. And, it leaves him 0-3 in the playoffs, I believe. And, yeah, I don't know what the Chargers as an organization can do except just keep trying to take steps forward, keep building that offensive line. Patriots, though, pretty interesting. Drake May was making throws when he could, and a lot of times the throws weren't open, so he was running. And he uses his speed quite well. And he really can get open and get through the gaps and just run as far as he can, as fast as he can. I really like Drake May as a talent, and that quarterback class. So he was in with Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, and the fact that he was able to he was kind of in the background a little bit last year, but he's really emerged and took that step forward. Now, there was MVP talks for him, and I don't know if that's going to happen just because of his age. But, it would be interesting if he did. Patriots seem like they're kind of back cool for them. Stephon Diggs was, in the game, and he's making some good plays as well. So we'll see how they do. I'm excited for Bills Patriots again if we do get that. Like, I'm super excited for that matchup. I think that's going to be great because they have one of my favorite games of the season last time they played. So yeah, that should be fun. I like the NFL playoffs this year. Like, I'm having a great time. I'm really enjoying myself, kicking my feet up. These games are going down to the wire. Probably the worst game was the Chargers Patriots, but the quarterbacks were getting hit so hard that it's like I can't blame the game for being bad. But that was fun. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching or listening. I'll be back next week with another episode. Come back here for all the latest news on sports, entertainment, pop culture. Follow me on TikTok at morganspointofview._ and on YouTube at morganspointofview. Have a great rest of your day.